Hey guys, Moose here with another video guide. This is going to be the first of 3 in a short video series that I'm going to do for leveling as a hunter in Battle for Azeroth. In this video, we're going to take a quick look at survival. Going into the video, I'm going to assume that you have a fairly decent gear set and can choose from all the available legendaries survival has to offer. This will only cover methods of leveling from levels 110 to 120. So if you're starting as a fresh hunter, this isn't the guide for you. If you want a complete leveling guide starting as a fresh hunter, Wowhead has written a fairly in-depth leveling guide for every spec linked in the description below. Before we get started, I just wanted to say that I do not claim to be a survival expert. I'm making this video because I've gotten a ton of requests for survival content, so I'm starting to produce more as I become more comfortable with the spec. I give a lot of the credit to Ghost and Kuro from the True Shot Lodge, as they've helped me a lot with the survival info in the last couple weeks. Alright, first let's cover what talents to run when you're leveling as a survival hunter. Here are my suggested talents for leveling as a survival hunter. In the first row, we've got Terms of Engagement. This helps burst down targets quick and allows you to quickly move in between targets. Guerrilla Tactics and Bloodseeker, which don't really help you in terms of leveling, but they're the best options in their respective rows for leveling. A Murder of Crows is an option to take as well, but it costs a great deal of focus and takes a while to kill a mob, so personally I prefer to have the bleed and the small attack speed bonus from Bloodseeker as opposed to a Murder of Crows. For utility, we have Born to be Wild and Trailblazer, which helps us move through questing zones super fast. Next, we have Tip of the Spear, which is very strong for bursting after casting a couple of kill commands. Finally, in the last row, I chose to take Chakrams. Chakrams is really the only talent that helps you while questing, in my opinion. We won't ever get a full use of Birds of Prey, except maybe on elite mobs. Wildfire Infusion doesn't really contribute much unless you're mass pulling, which you typically don't want to do as survival. This leaves Chakrams, which gives you another bursty damage option to help kill mobs quicker. In Battle for Azeroth, a new world PvP system was introduced called War Mode. This allows you to turn on world PvP, which may slow you down a tad, but it provides you with an awesome leveling bonuses to make up for it. You get bonus experience with War Mode on, and you're able to use new PvP talents while leveling. I highly suggest you do this, but this is totally your preference. If you do decide to use War Mode, I suggest using these talents. Hunting Party and Mending Bandage are a must. Your third talent is largely preference, depending on what you think will help you the most. Personally, I decided to take Survival Tactics to ensure that you can drop combat whenever you want. So, while leveling, your gear will generally get replaced with the highest item level. If you're coming from Legion though, you will more than likely have a fairly good gear set and legendaries that you will use for a couple of levels before replacing them. Legendaries become obsolete once you hit level 116, so it's best to take advantage of them until then. If you're in full Mythic Antaurus gear, you will start replacing your gear around level 117, and obviously Heroic and Normal before then. So what legendaries are best for leveling? If you're going to be questing using the talents I suggested above, you want to have Hellbrain, Rope of the Mist Marauder equipped. The increased damage you deal when you first harpoon an enemy is huge. Since we're going to be moving through zones hitting a new enemy every couple of seconds, this means that you'll almost always have a 20 to 30% damage bonus as long as you keep using Harpoon to travel in between mobs. For your second option, you have a couple different choices. Depending on your preference, you can use Call of the Wild, Seph's Secret, or the legendary Crafted Gloves Vigilance Perch. Call of the Wild will make your Aspect of the Cheetah super short, allowing you to zoom everywhere every 30 seconds or so. Seph's Secret gives you a passive 10% movement speed, a proc which gives you 70% movement speed when you CC a target, and bonus haste. Vigilance Perch gives you passive movement speed for every enemy killed, and basically allows you to be mounted outside of combat without actually having to mount. Personally, I went with Seph's Secret, but this is totally your preference. Next, I'm going to quickly go over some useful items to have with you while you're leveling. They've nerfed a lot of these items, such as Fell Meteorite, but here are some items that are useful for leveling that are still usable. Skystep Potion. Skystep Potion increases your movement speed by 150% and allows you to hover for 8 seconds. This is very good for moving between quests and allows you to speed up a lot of quest turn-ins and travel time in between quests. Goblin Glider Kit reduces your falling speed. This is very good, especially in Zul'Zadar, where you start on top of a pyramid. You can glide down to certain quest objectives and it makes traveling time a lot quicker. Bear Tartar restores HP and mana while you're eating it. It gives you a buff every time you kill an enemy. It gives you a short movement speed, which again helps you move between quests faster. Lastly, Avalanche Elixir. If you haven't used Avalanche Elixir before, when you're falling from a great distance, it makes you land without taking damage. Obviously, we're hunters, and so we have disengage for this, but disengage isn't always up, so it's handy to have a couple Avalanche Elixirs with you at all times. Alright, so lastly, let's talk about exactly what to do with the setup that I've explained to you. While Survival and Marksman both have pets, unlike BM, we can't really depend on our pets to tank everything. Survival's leveling style is better performed by quickly bursting down singular enemies, 1 or 2 at a time. Between Hellbreen and Terms of Engagement, your initial damage on the mob is boosted quite a bit when you harpoon to an enemy, and you're able to quickly burst down mobs. Once you kill a mob, thanks to Terms of Engagement, your harpoon resets, allowing you to travel between mobs very quickly. As an added bonus, due to all of your movement speed, traits, and abilities, you have a ridiculous amount of movement speed. Trailblazer gives you 30% out of combat movement speed, and if you have Cephas on, you get another 10%. Between Born to be Wild, Hunting Pack, and if you choose to use Call of the Wild, Aspect of the Cheetah can become a 47-second cooldown, which allows you to move in between quests fairly quickly. Another added bonus that survival hunters have is their immense amount of self-healing. Due to the survival mastery, we gain about 3% health every 5 seconds. While leveling, I suggest using a ferocity pet. In the video here, I'm using a bat, which is ferocity. Ferocity pets give you and your pet an additional 10% leech, which helps both you and your pet tremendously while leveling. This makes you and your pet fairly tanky overall. If you listen to my suggestion and have War Mode on, you should also have Mending Bandage, which helps you heal in between pulls. Of course, like always, you still have Exhilaration and Aspect of the Turtle, should you need these. As you can see here, I'm quickly moving from mob to mob using Harpoon, with a huge amount of burst. I'm only using Serpent Sting on larger mobs, since it's largely not worth the focus on smaller mobs. If you pull too many mobs, make use of Wildfire Bomb, Carve, Chakrams, and don't be afraid to use Misdirection on your pet to redirect some of the mobs. Use Coordinated Assaults on larger mobs and elites, and don't forget to use your Bloodlust. So, to wrap things up, Survival is a quick, bursty class while leveling that can quickly burst down a couple targets at a time. It's very easy and it's a fun spec to level with, and I highly recommend it to people that want to have a bit of fun while leveling. I personally enjoy harpooning from enemy to enemy and annihilating enemies very quickly. Alright guys, that concludes my quick guide to survival leveling. For an in-depth guide on survival hunters, check out Azerotharian's survival guide on Icy Veins. As always, follow and subscribe to get more info on all things hunter. Check out the links and the info in the description below, and be on the lookout for more of my upcoming guides. Thanks for watching!